We need to start familiarizing ourselves with the bits and the anatomy of them so that we understand what's doing what. First, I'd like to talk about mouthpieces. There's various different mouthpieces, and they all have a different function. The snaffle is a two-piece snaffle, considered very mild in the mouthpiece part of it. That's all we're talking about now. We'll get to the shanks in a minute. The snaffle mouthpiece is considered very mild. We move up from that to a three-piece snaffle. This is sometimes called the Dr. Bristol mouthpiece. It has center joints in it that allows the bar pieces to reach farther to the outside nerves. This is a bit that's a little bit more comfortable for a horse to carry that you ride in a snaffle bit because of the fact that it has tongue relief. It has room under here for his tongue. And it still gives you great lateral abilities because it reaches to the outside nerves. The next one I'd like to talk about is a combination of the two, a snaffle with a port. This is considered a ported snaffle, or a correction port it's sometimes called. You get the leverage on the outside of the bars. You still get the leverage of a port on the palate. It's a great bit for correcting. Ridden in a shorter shank, it's still pretty mild. Another mouthpiece that I like a lot is a little bit higher type port that's wider in here. It's real comfortable for a horse to pack because it has room for his tongue. It also has a mullen relief in it so that it rests up off the horse's tongue. This bit is an offshoot of the three-piece snaffle, the Dr. Bristol that we talked about earlier. This is called a tumbling spade. It gives you a little bit of leverage off of the palate, still achieving the action of a three-piece type snaffle bit, reaching to the outside nerves. This mouthpiece is a chain mouthpiece. It's becoming very popular among the team ropers these days. It's a fairly mild type bit. It collapses, it lays across the pressure points, both sides of the bars and the tongue. You can hold a horse, you can get response with it, but still in a fairly mild type fashion. As long as the chain is positioned in the mouthpiece in an up and down position so that it rests very comfortably in the horse's mouth. This would be considered my low port. It's a fairly low type port. It still has a little mullen relief in it. It's got a great bounce. It's still very comfortable for a horse to pack. Never reaches the palate. This would be a medium type port. Still, again, barely reaching to the palate. It has a mullen relief in it, real comfortable for a horse to pack. Is a very mild type bit. This would be a high port. This bit's about 2 1/4 inches high. It's still very wide, comfortable for a horse to pack, but still has enough height that you get a lot of pressure off the palate. Let's run back through right quick and look at the shanks, if we could, on these same bits. This is a solid jaw. A solid jaw achieves a lot of rigid collection. Not much lateral with a solid jaw. When you take hold of one side, you take hold of the other side. This would be a loose jaw. Talking again about the shank, this would be a loose jaw type bit. It achieves better lateral movements than the solid jaw would.